Hi, Dawn Lewis here, and it's day 5 of our One Sketch, One Stamp Set, 7 Ways in 7 Days video series. Here is the sketch I'm using all of this week, as well as Pawsome by Waffleflower, which you can find in Australia at dawnlewis.com.au. So let us start with some stamping and colouring. I've chosen the corgis today. They are adorable, and I see 2 gorgeous corgis wander past my house every few days, and I just love watching them. They're just so confident as they strut up the street. I've stamped on Express-It blending card with Memento Tuxedo Black ink, and you can see all of the colours that I'm using. Not that there are very many over on the left-hand side of your screen. I've stuck with a traditional brown corgi, but one day I'll splash out soon and do the ones with the brindle corgis with the black and the brown. I think they're gorgeous and I love their fluffy butts. So now it's time for us to get into making the card. I'm using some clear thread here. I've got this from a sewing shop. You could use fishing line or you could use something else, but I thought clear thread adds to the illusion because today we are making a spinner card. So I'm adding double-sided tape to the back of my black cardstock, and then I'm also going to add some double-sided tape to my patterned paper that I'll be using today. So the pattern paper I'm using is a Kaisercraft paper. I love this. It's kind of a masculine one. I'll pop details to everything I used on my blog. There's a link in the description box below, unless of course you're watching this on my blog, in which case just look up. So I'm making my mat, and I'm not going to stick it down to the card because we've got some work to do. I have cut out a circle from my pattern paper. This is from the same Kaisercraft pattern paper pad, and I'm only running glue around the outside edge because this is going to act as our frame, and I am going to put the smaller die in the center, and I don't want it adhered to the paper below. I will use the cutouts for other things. I've run them through the Big Shot, all 3 layers, and of course all 3 layers did not cut out. The top one did, so I'm just going to peel that off, and I'm going to pop the die back on top. This is another circle dotted die. Just nestle it into place, run it through again, and now it has gone through both layers, which is perfect. I'll use all of those circles on another project later on, maybe some gift tags. So this still nests in, and I will use that one later in this project. So now I need to figure out where I'm going to cut my window in the front of our card. I'm sticking everything down. You'll notice that it's moved, and I did make an error here. I should have lined it up a little better because when I've run it through the die cut machine, it has sliced a little section off my border, but I am going to do a quick fix for that later on. The eraser I use there is a Xyron adhesive eraser, very handy tool. So you can see there the damage that the die made when it slipped, and because I'm going through so many layers there, it hasn't quite cut through. So I'm just using a craft knife to pop it through, and then I thought, I don't have to do that. I can put it back through the die cut machine. So I'm just going to use a little Tombow mono adhesive to pop that sliver back in place. I did think about cutting it off, but it was just, it made it uneven, so I've glued it back on and it looks perfect and no one would ever know. Now I'm going to cut a length of the clear thread, and I'm going to use some good strong double-sided tape to adhere it at the top. So I'm running the thread down. I know you can't see the thread, but I'm using the grid on my cutting mat to line everything up to make sure that thread is in the center, and I'm going to stick it down quite enthusiastically. See the thread there when I hold it up? So this is going to be the thread on which our corgi spins. It's very cool. So I've got some liquid Tombow mono adhesive. I'm going to run left and right of that circle so that the front is held down really well. The double-sided tape will hold the thread really strongly in place. I find if I don't add enough adhesive, the thread gets a little slack, especially after you add on your heavy spinner embellishment. And so I'm going to line it up. Now I admit I did not line this up very well, and you can see that it's just a little out of whack. So I did trim off part of the card base over on the right, and that has made it look a lot better. See, look at this little trim. I love this tonic trimmer. I've got to say, I'm pretty impressed with this tool. So here are our little corgis. I fussy cut them, and I'm putting Tombow mono adhesive, a liquid glue, all over one side. I'm going to pop him underneath the clear thread and then pop the matching one on top. I used a liquid glue so that I could jiggle it and wriggle it and make sure that they were exactly together. exactly right front and back, and here I am checking and tweaking again, and I can slide it up and down while I'm waiting for that glue to dry. So I decided that I would give the pattern paper, I pop the background in so it's got a little bit of a, like it's got a bit of a background, it's a bit of a surprise, it's a bit of a feature. And I just loved all the paint spatters on this particular pattern paper. So when the card is closed, it just looks like it's a dog on a circle. But when you open it, there's a surprise. But the greeting, it's an essential part of our sketch. I stamped it onto another piece, a scrap piece of blending card, so that it's a nice bright white. And I'm stamping the Hope Your Birthday Was Pawsome stamps that come in the Pawsome stamp set. I'm stamping the Hope Your Birthday Was in archival jet black ink, and I'm going to stamp the Pawsome in blue, a navy blue ink, to coordinate with the pattern paper that we're using today. And I used a Stampin' Up ink for that. I think it's called Not Quite Navy, which I double stamped, and it came out beautifully. I did matte it on some pattern paper, so I've got this whole coordinating paper thing really going on with this entire card. And surprisingly, it really didn't use very much. And this is a 6x6 pad. It really does go a long way. So there's a close-up. I did also matte it onto black just for an extra border. So here's how we spin our little corgi around. So you just open the card up, spin, 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 pop it down, and then when the recipient opens the card, the corgi spins around. This is the beauty of the stamp sets with mirror images, or you could try some mirror stamping. I do hope you've enjoyed this video. Remember, if you're looking for Waffleflower in Australia, you can find it at dawnlewis.com.au. Thank you so much for watching, and to you, if you subscribe, I appreciate it very, very much. I hope that you have a very crafty day, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye for now.